Hey everybody, this is LP Games, and welcome back to the next episode. I believe this is episode 7 of our First Impressions series, Season 1. If you're new to this series, it's a series where I go through and play games for the first time. Play about 30 minutes to 2 hours of a game, depending on if I feel I need the extra time to kind of get a feel for it. And then I'll give it a rating afterwards, based on four main categories: game design, art design, sound design, and story. So game design is like game mechanics, all that kind of stuff around how the game plays, performance and stuff like that. Art design is about the art style, if it fits, if the quality is where it should be. Also includes level design, sound, audio design, sound design, self-explanatory, it's audio. Audio for the game, does it sound good? Does it sound like it's, does it fit with what the scenes are? It's a good quality. If it's voice acting, how is the voice acting done? I don't really... Unless it's like something like that where voice acting is a very huge part of it, like it's intrinsic to the genre of the game. Like, say, an adventure game. Dialogue, if it's voiced, is pretty important in adventure games. I won't have too much of a weight on that. Then after all those, we have the overall. The overall score may or may not be indicative of the component scores. They're not really weighted that way. So an overall score can be lower or higher than like the sum of all the other categories. That's basically how these work. We've already done a couple of these. Again, this is either the 6th or the 7th one. I've lost track at this point. Today we're going to be playing Chorus. Now, the last one I said we're going to have a bit of a story about this and how difficult it was to actually be able to do this. So this game was part of the group of games I bought over Christmas, along with all the other ones. Pretty much all the other ones I've done, except for maybe Lost Ruin was not one of those that I picked up over Christmas. But all the other PS5 games were. And everything else got here just fine. This game, however, the first time I bought it, it was delivered to me through USPS, and at some point, somehow, I'm assuming at this point that it's because it came on the 2nd, so the day after New Year's Day, and mail's probably pretty jacked up. That mail person's just out of their mind or something, delirious with whatever, and they put the thing in the wrong box. Contacted USPS. They said that it was delivered to the right place. They checked everything. They couldn't find it, so I just wrote it off. It's like, okay, fine. I contacted the seller on Amazon and said, hey, this thing, because Amazon wasn't selling it. Hey, this game got lost by the USPS. Want a refund or something? Haven't heard back from them yet. That was a couple weeks ago. So I was like, okay. It didn't cost me too much to get it. So I was like, okay, I'll look for it somewhere else. It's not Amazon. So I go and look at this. I find this place called Toy Palace, or either Toy Palace or Toy Place. I'm not sure which. One of the two. And they had it, and was about the same price. So I was like, okay, go and buy it. So I bought it. Waited and waited and waited, and didn't get a response about shipping or anything. So I contacted them, and it turns out their system had a glitch on the day that they put in the order, and all the orders that were on that day didn't get, properly submitted into the system, so it didn't get shipped. So they put it back into the system, it got shipped out, comes in through USPS again, and package is nowhere to be found, and it says delivered. So at this point now I'm thinking either the mail person's stealing the shit, or they're just stupid, inept at their job, and probably should be fired, because they keep on putting the packages in the wrong places, or putting the parcel keys for like the parcel lockers that are on the cluster boxes into the wrong mailbox. Contact USPS again. They say the same thing. They delivered it. Says delivered to the right place. They checked the mailboxes, didn't find it. Well, obviously because somebody jacked it, lifted it. Either the person who had the key in their box got it and took it, or the mail person stole it. Either way, then, once again, lost the game. So I was like, you know what? Okay, one more time. Let's go back to Amazon. And lo and behold, Amazon was now selling and shipping the game. So I got it again for a third time, and we finally have it. So that is the effed up story about how this game made it to this first impression series. I hope it was goddamn worth it. Because it looks kind of interesting, but I'm not really sure. This game is made by Deep Silver, and, well, Deep Silver, I think, is the publisher, and Fish Labs is the developer. Unreal Engine. I'm not really sure what kind of game it is. It seems like it's maybe an action-adventure game, but I'm not 100% sure. On the back it says, "This ends with us. She was once the Circle's deadliest warrior, and now she's their most wanted fugitive. As Nara and her starfighter Forsaken journey across the galaxy to unite resistance forces against the Circle and free the universe from oppression." So, then in little boxes underneath it says, "Explore Dark Universe, venture into a sci-fi universe teeming with mystery and rife with conflict. Journey of Redemption, follow Nara's quest to face her haunted past, and then zero-G space combat. Face hordes of enemies, fast-paced action, and exhilarating dogfights." So it sounds like it's an action-adventure game, maybe flight sim, potentially. But I don't know. Because you also have scenes where you have like the character just out and walking around on the back, it seems. So, let's assume this is a action-adventure game with flight sim game mechanics in it. So, action-adventure. Most important things for action-adventure games are the HUD, so the UI, and gameplay. I would say sound effects, too, are probably an important part of this, but not so much. It's like maybe a third tier, kind of on the tier list of what's important. It's like on tier 3. Tier 1 is game mechanics and UI. Tier 2, I think, would be story. That's the adventure component of it. You'd have story that makes sense and is good and has a coherence. Also on tier 1 would be pacing. Depending on like if the game is linear or not. If the game is linear, pacing is a huge thing. If it's open world, it's a little less important. I have no clue which one this game is. So, in terms of like the audio design and like cutscenes and things, and like in battle, that's kind of important. But it's maybe like tier 4. Everything else kind of falls on tier 4 or lower. But the main important things are the game mechanics and the dialogue at this point. So, let's see what this game is all about. Chorus. At first I thought it was called Corvus, because the U looks like a V, but it's actually Chorus. I'll be fiddling around with the audio here, make sure we're not too loud. What's going on? It's really hard to kind of properly balance some of these PS5 games. Well, that should be a lot bigger than that. Maracuna? Wonder what Maracuna added in here. Did I see Havoc? The list of things there? It's kind of funny to think, the Havoc physics engine, I believe it came about as, the first game it was used in, or what it was created to be used for, was Half-Life 2, I believe. And it's been in a lot of things since then. So, menu music. Sounds like generic kind of dramatic, sort of cinematic stuff. The menu screen doesn't really give you much. You got a spaceship with like a asteroid. Oh, we got some voice, some vocals here. Adds a little more flavor to it. We got this like asteroid or comet or something busted through the hull of a ship. So here's the thing about start menus, right? Your start menu background should give the player like some sort of identity of the game, right? This seems really bland and doesn't do that, right? Doesn't give you the identity of the game. Like, they should have just had like some sort of scene like on the cover art or something, or something similar to that as the menu screen. That would have been way more impactful than this thing. I mean, I'm assuming at some point some event happens in the game that this represents. But again, it doesn't really mean anything, right? You're just seeing a busted-ass ship been hit by an asteroid or something. Got cargo floating out in space. Alright, let's see what we got here. Let's see, so we're looking for any kind of ray tracing. Actually, ray tracing. But, oh, accessibility. Okay, let's check this out, because we haven't seen many games that have accessibility settings. So we got language, display, subtitles, subtitle size. This is all it is. Display target markers, interface, post-processing, enable, disable post-processing effects, include chromatic aberration, glitching, parabola distortion, etc. Enable, disable target marker display. So this is all it really has. Solstice had way more than this. This doesn't even have like the bare minimum in terms of like colorblind support. So I'll give them props for having some accessibility options, but it might only like equate out to half a point on the overall score that I'll add, because there isn't many, and they don't have like I would say these aren't really even accessibility options, right? Display is just part of the gameplay. It's a generic gameplay thing. It's not an accessibility option. It never has been. So I think that let's see that, and then to be honest, I think all of these are just basic options. They aren't really accessibility options. You know what? I take that back. I'll take off a half a point for this, because I think they just took a bunch of settings that should go underneath other categories, put them underneath accessibility, and claim their accessibility settings to get some brownie points. They didn't actually. These are not actually accessibility settings. There's nothing in here that makes the game easier to play. That's not what you normally would find in this kind of game. So, no. I'm taking off half a point from the overall for that. Okay. I don't see anything. There's no option to turn off motion blur, so hopefully don't have that. Leave those the way they are. Alright, let's go and start. So we got permanent death. Respawn after death allowed. If you die, your playthrough ends permanently. You lose all your save data and activate. You cannot change difficulty settings anymore. Ooh. So it's like an Iron Man mode. Interesting. So we'll leave that off. Difficulty goes up to extreme. Enemies will be relentless and healing is limited. And then easy. Well, we're gonna go on medium because we play all the games on medium for this.
I'm Nara. I wanted peace and safety for people. I wanted chorus. Eternal harmony for everyone. Taught by the great prophet himself, I saw him as the father I never had. He was kind, a healer helping the sick, and a true guiding light for us all. I became his best pilot, his executioner. My talents and those of other elders were revealed.
Elders.
He taught us to tap into the ether and unleash gifts that lay suppressed inside us.
That looks a little bit stiff.
The same powers the menacing Faceless harness from inside their void.
Okay, so the Faceless are the
Nothing
enemies.
was able to stop the power of the Circle.
Or they're,
Nothing was
I guess
able
they're
to
affiliated
stop
with the
me.
Circle, right? This Faceless.
But then he changed. Something happened, and suddenly no sacrifice was too much. Nimica Prime. A rebellious world refused the harmonious doctrine
So her-
of Chorus. An order was
Her
given,
mentor.
one which
I guess,
every
right?
elder must follow, even if they disagreed.
Destroy that planet, Nara.
I hesitated,
Yeah, so the Great Prophet had
You
some
can
kind of change.
refuse, Elder.
but
Interesting.
I didn't. I gathered all my anger. And billions died.
Damn.
I heard them scream. That day I left the circle. Turned my ship towards the rift, ready to stop it or die. Keisha died first. Urum soon followed. Awan, my brother in Chorus, was hit. So I left him behind. I left them all behind. And I fled.
Interesting. Dialogue isn't bad, but it's also, you know, it's very... I'm not gonna say cliched, but it's like... It's very stiff. Very, like, the pacing is kind of weird, right? Not like the pacing of the voiceover, but the actual pacing of how the dialogue is written is kind of weird.
You're close enough, Nara.
At least of that, like, introduction bit.
Time to test that access code.
This is more reasonable here.
Transmitting. Now.
You only have a few seconds to get inside before the security system re-engages. Good hunting.
I'm a force in the shadows.
Interesting. Okay, so it's a twin stick.
Relax. I'll bring your AR-1 back.
Just bring
All right.
yourself back. And some nature power cells for the Enclave.
So there is no reverse, as far as I can tell. Okay, I did not expect this to be like Everspace. Twin stick shooter.
The crew. They never had a chance.
How did I do that?
Someone sold them out to the cult. They massacred everyone. Even the kids.
A circle cleansing doctrine. Thorough.
Who betrayed them?
Never found out.
Oh, so I see. So it will, so if you somehow get like a little bit off kilter, this will return you to 0 on the gimbal of the ship, basically.
A power cell.
I noticed that the whispering kind of, is it like internal or something? That's kind of weird, that's like a whisper thing.
I got one.
Perfect. This the Enclave for years.
If the circle doesn't find us, I can still reach out with my right of senses and find them.
So X. So it's a scan, okay.
You really are one of a kind, Nara. How did you find that?
I'm heading deeper, Sav.
They must never know about my right. About me.
Interesting. So they don't know what you are, basically.
The lock opened. I'm moving on to engineering.
careful. Automated security could still be active.
Contact.
Ah, turret. Stationary, superior shooting distance, hold dismiss. R2 to shoot. I like the, so there's a little bit of a chunk on the trigger, which I like that. That's what I like about the PS5 controller, is that the triggers are, you know, the adaptive triggers make it so that you have to kind of confirm the
section is under lockdown.
the press, you know.
Or make one.
I can sense the barrier field's energy flow.
Good. No power, no barrier field.
Where am I supposed to go now? Oh, right here. Duh.
Lockdown lifted. You're amazing.
Okay, so you can run into stuff. So you can run into the walls and such. Let's look at the UI here. So we got the so we got the objective in top left. Bottom right, bottom left seems to be your weapon panel. Not sure what's on the bottom right. I mean, the thing is for this. Okay, so it's charges for your ability, I guess. I'm not sure what the gauge above the search icon is. I guess it's your whatever power, and then you'll get more access to more stuff as time goes on, maybe. So you'll be able to use more of the bars at once. Top, I guess, is your shield and your health. Top right, would be my guess. It's a pretty simplistic UI.
An incredible sight. They built her big.
Yes, big and slow. The perfect circle target.
Moving in. I still have space for more power cells.
Are you okay, Nara?
It's nothing, Sav. Just remembering something.
The pain's still there.
So you don't have to hold forward on the altitude boost. So you don't need to hold forward. It will keep you going at a certain speed. Yeah, I think you do slow down gradually.
So the art arc.
It seems.
It transported jump gates.
Yes. Crossed space the old way.
Interesting.
Engineers, pioneers, their families, all looking for a new beginning.
How do we rotate the ship?
Journey just to die.
Oh. Okay, we're low on health here, which is not good. Ah. Okay. There's a lot of enemies.
I've retrieved almost all the cells.
Yeah, good.
Like, what is that? How did I do that?
You okay?
I knew what had happened here, but seeing it. Those people, the dreams, plans, all dead.
I know. It's
Gatling gun level 2.
My work once
There's some interesting things happening with the controls. I don't know how they're happening.
Sav, all power cells collected.
It's like when you,
Their blood is not on your hands. It's on the cult leaders.
it's like some combination of like the left and right stick together to do stuff.
I guess. Get out of there. Come home, Nara.
What are you hiding?
So instead I found all the power cells, but is there anything else here to look for? I think the answer is no.
A memory. Here. My right could reveal them.
So how do we make this work? Maybe I'm too close. What's this? Something over here. Oh, it's an enemy turret. How many bloody turrets are there? Jeez. Says there's something back here. Oh, what's that? Credits, okay.
Credits. Might buy me a nice upgrade at the Enclave.
Sublight drive offline. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's too close.
Open fire. Evasive action. Evasive.
Interesting.
I must be first. Boost.
Heavy contact. Engaging boost. I have company, Sav. Pirate crows.
Pirate.
Get out of there. Drop the cargo if you must.
Okay, scavenger. Hand over your cargo and maybe we'll let you go.
You don't know me.
Yeah, it's like it's contextual almost. It's like I'm not even doing it. It's like the game's doing it automatically.
Rest in peace.
I'm in the clear. They're dead now. It was their choice. I didn't want them to follow me to the Enclave.
Understood.
There's a couple of
Right
things
call.
here. A couple memories.
Strong resonances here. Memories from the past.
This is interesting so far.
I can hear their voices inside my head.
No matter where you hid, you could not escape their psychics.
Interesting. Massive crowds down here.
Hull breach! Evacuate the section! Where's Ira? Is she with you? I won't leave without my baby!
Back then, I told myself I gave them a choice to join. Before
Oh.
I chose for them.
Are these her memories of the people she's killed? What's this thing I have like on my screen right now? Like that I'm following around this thing right now. It's kind of pointing to the top left. I don't know what that is. I don't think it's anything. Maybe it's a... Oh, and it's the level indicator. Never mind. That's what that is.
Don't think I'll ever come back here. Maybe I can still sense something.
I won't miss this graveyard.
Okay.
Sav, the cargo is secured and all power cells stable. I'm heading back to the Enclave.
Good job, Nara.
Thank you.
I'll say this game looks good. Ship design's pretty cool. Thruster, the thruster exhaust is pretty interesting to look at. The skybox leaves a bit to be desired here. You can tell it's like an image because it's not very high quality. Like the rings and stuff are like really, it's really obvious.
I was thinking, all these years, I've never seen you afraid of anything. And the way you fight, precise, deadly. You could earn a fortune anywhere else.
I'm not leaving Staker.
Good. But things here might change.
You're expecting trouble?
Just come over and we'll talk.
I'll see about that.
They're going for like, it feels like they're going for like an X feel almost. I know it's not that, because X is not this kind of game, but they're trying to mimic it a little bit, I think, like X4. This is where they kind of get to show off a little bit about, you know, the engine and stuff and how good things look. Plus, it gives you some time to get more used to the controls as well. So, yeah, mining rigs, it seems. This must be like the remnants of a planet. This is like way too big to be like an asteroid. Now what's down here? I think we can collect. Answer is no. I wish we could like change the orientation of the ship.
Scavenger Nara? I could use some help.
Understood.
So is Zahn over there?
Nara, you came.
Okay, so it's on the left stick.
I'm listening.
It's a quick delivery, but I feel safer if someone like you could watch my back and handle things.
Sounds like trouble.
I'll pay you.
All right. Where to?
Interesting.
Sandwich Outpost. It's not that far.
So an escort mission.
Azan. Didn't you work at the Enclave?
Yeah, I fixed that ship of yours a few times, but I left after I... Well, I still owe Sav. I've got my own workshop now. Business is good, but I lost some credits. The damn game was rigged.
And now you owe the pirates.
But I'll pay them right after this delivery.
I see.
While piling up new debts.
I wonder what that. I really wonder what that thing is. Man, that ship is fast compared to mine. You're thinking the other way around.
We're here, but I'll drop off my goods fast.
Azan! Finally found you.
Lyra?
I have your credits. Almost. I just need to...
That story's growing old. Hey now. Or...
Nara, can you... maybe...
Okay. I'll cover your debt.
Fine with me. We'll see you, Azan. You're always welcome to join us for another game.
I don't remember
Thanks,
fight
Nara.
him.
You owe me now.
I know. My cargo's still at the Enclave. It's yours. Follow me.
Interesting.
Let's use the acceleration gates to the Enclave.
Right. You shouldn't stay out in the open.
That's interesting. This is kind of an interesting mechanic.
We made it. Here. It's what you covered. Plus my cut from the delivery job.
Thanks.
If I repay Sav, I might get my old job back.
Maybe.
If he decides to trust you again. The Enclave. You called it my home, Sav. Maybe one day.
Sav, I'm coming in.
That's in the
Your two
pickup over
power
there.
cells are all safe.
And your landing bay is ready.
I'm gonna look that up. Look at that real quick here. See what that is. That's a memory, I think.
What's its name again? The Enclave?
Catching, right? People need a safe place
To hide from the cult.
to live a free life.
That's what we all need.
And you would be perfect as our chief of security.
Not so
Interesting.
fast, but show me around.
Great. You're gonna love it.
I think Sav was selling more than the Enclave. And look at them now.
Oh. We flew over the hangar.
I'll
There we
let
go.
V's security team know their cargo's here.
What's the real story? Why those energy cells, Sav?
We've had a lot more refugees lately. Things are shaking up back in cold space.
You're preparing for a cult attack?
Could be nothing. Keep this between us.
Hangars allow you to purchase new weapons, ship mods, upgrades, and as well as changing your loadout. As you progress to the storage station, inventories will expand, offering more and better equipment. You can find hangars to dock at scattered throughout the different star systems. Once discovered, they are marked on the map.
Always.
Hull fragments. A package of compound matter a ship can use to produce additional hull plating and enhance its underlying structure. Collecting 3 fragments is enough to reinforce a ship. Okay, so in other words, you get 3 of these, and it allows you to increase your hull, basically. Okay, so you get one for free. Okay, so now we have tier 2 hull. So that's 100 more hull points. You don't have any shield fragments. Those are 800 credits each. I'm guessing that's credits. We've got 1225. So just buying one of them doesn't do you anything. Okay. Gatling. Equipped is the Talon. Talon is a first-grade Gatling gun featuring an unmatched fire rate. Customizes each cartridge's oxidizer to ensure every shot fires at maximum velocity in every zero-G environment. While it excels in reliability, prolonged bursts will still overheat the weapon, and its fire rate will drop brief for every bullet. Hull, so does 6 to hull, 4 to shield, and 2 to armor. Fire rate's 33, overheat time is 5, and cooldown time is 1.5. This heavy Gatling gun is optimized to fire bullets coated with a supromagnetic liquid that disrupts shields and eats away at its way through even cutting-edge hull materials. However, it remains less effective against armor, and keeping its rounds at rather ideal temperatures requires advanced cooling. As a result, the gun overheats more quickly. So, less damage to or less damage to armor. Still does more than the current thing, but not as much. More damage to shields and hull, but overheating is a lot faster, sounds like. Okay. These are fragments of high-capacity energy cells that power a ship's regenerating energy shield. Every ship's first-line defense. Collecting 3 fragments allows a ship to integrate a new energy cell array that considerably improves the resistance of radiant shields. Okay, so basically, yeah. We got mods now. Let's see, deflectors. Ramp up your ship's defenses with this breakthrough and deflector shield technology. Your shield stability will be increased, allowing you to deploy full shields longer before they need to be recharged. Interesting. This carefully engineered breakthrough is a perfect defensive upgrade. Decreases the repair drone's cooldown period between damage repairs, returning you to the fight faster. Interesting. Utility. Predictive algorithm. Every top pilot needs that latest innovation in offensive technology. This latest, rather, not that latest. This mod will increase the damage of projectiles delivered to enemies' armor, helping you take out opposing fighters with ease. Interesting. The best pilots will appreciate this offensive advantage. Deploying this will bring down your opponent's shields faster, increasing... Okay, so essentially, these two allow you to modify your weapons to specific situations. So, armor, shields, I'm guessing this is hull? No. This increases damage overall, I think. Oh no, this is hull. Yeah, hull piercer. So that's hull. Thermal conductors. The thruster augmentation is always a brilliant addition to your utilities. Gain increased speeds with the latest in propulsion technology. Okay. We actually could buy one of those if we wanted to. I think we should do this because our armor damage is not that high. That time we can get another mod installed. Can't do 2 mods of the same type, though, it seems. Let's go with shield and armor destruction here.
Something that needs your discretion. I have a lost shipment, sensitive cargo. And my wife asked for you.
What does Ree need?
It involves a missing ship. She'll tell you more when you get there.
All right.
Sav, he thinks his secrets are protection.
We got a couple things that just popped up here.
Sav, any priorities?
Your choice, Nara.
Vast and freely explorable, discover. Okay, so it's kind of open world then. Something way over there that looks interesting. We also got the credits here.
Oh, it's you, Nara. Sorry, I'm looking for someone. Where the hell did they...
Weird. Civilian Turin request.
You're Turin, the mechanic, right?
Chief of Enclave Engineering. Anyway, my boy, he's a real rust. He loves to race, and went off without a single word. But after everything that's happened, it's not safe out there right now.
I guess sounds like one of the admirals from Quarians in Mass Effect 3.
And his sister. She follows him everywhere.
So she's lost too?
I know. It's a... damn.
I'll find them.
Just let me know where they are. I marked one of their favorite spots for you. I'll keep searching in the other direction.
Pilot training site. How do I mark this? Custom marker, there we go. I swear that was one of the admirals from, Korean admirals from Mass Effect 3. Voice sounded very familiar. So you can just, boost indefinitely, huh?
Help? Anyone? Help us? Maybe I can. On the way.
Distress signal.
We're out of fuel and stuck here. Can you transfer enough to get us to the next station?
Sure. I can help you out.
There's no fuel gauge, so... So how do you do that? Weird sound effects.
Here's something for your trouble.
Thanks, Captain. Stay safe out there.
Hey, Nara, it's Dealer. You know, from the Enclave. We're gonna race. Come on over.
So where are the those kids at? Or did we just solve the thing? Let's see. Huh. So what happened to the, I guess we finished that other one then. Rights. The rights screen provides an overview of your rights entry disposal. As the event story, more rights will be unlocked. Some of your rights, as well as your energy, can be upgraded finding the... Okay. Right of the senses. So these are like special abilities because we're some kind of crazy telepath or something. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I think we got enough to give this game a rating. The first impressions rating so far. So let's go ahead and save. I can't. That's fine. We'll just go next to my menu. Okay. So, oh, interesting. So the background is related to where you're at in the story. Okay, that's better then. Okay, that makes more sense. So we start off in that wreckage area, and that's what showed. Now we're in the Enclave area, and it's showing that's the background. I actually like that. That's cool. And the audio changed too. Nice. So that's kind of interesting, though. Okay, so let's talk about stuff. Alright, so this is actually a twin-stick shooter, which is unexpected. So, that changes what we're looking for. So twin-stick, so any kind of shooter, especially twin-stick shooters, like any type of topographical, or what's the term? It's not is it topographical? It's isometric either. Maybe it's isometric. Yeah, there's like a specific term for like top-down looking stuff. Kind of like Lost Ruins, one of those. But this is a third-person ship twin-stick shooter, dogfighting kind of thing. So controls are very important, and game mechanics are very important. Everything else is kind of secondary. I guess secondary would be story, then everything else is like below that. In terms of like what you would be looking for. So game mechanics wise, things seem fairly decent. There seems to be a lot you can do. We weren't able to, like, obviously there's like a bunch of stuff locked behind story progression, so we don't have access to everything yet. There's seems to be quite a few upgrades, quite a few different types of weapons. You've got those different right abilities. There seems to be a lot of stuff to do. It is I would say this is probably a limited open world, so it's open world to a point. So open world is like Skyrim, where you can go anywhere you want to at any point, there's nothing stopping you. Limited open world is where you can go up to a point, and then you have some kind of block that prevents you from continuing until you complete some sort of story event. And I think that's what this game is. It's limited story. Or limited open world. Which is good, because that's... full-on open-world space games are very hard to do properly. Really, I've only known like the X series to do it well. So we'll see what Starfield ends up being. I'm very worried about Starfield, to be honest. But that's not the point of this. But that's like another example of like a game coming out soon that's also kind of like this game, supposedly. Or the same kind of genre, or not this game, but same genre as like X, where it's full open world. So that's good, because that means that you can focus more on areas, and those areas can have more stuff in them, and be more populated, be more enriched because of that. If you have full open world, you lose some of that, because you just can't do that with full open world. You have a lot of empty locations, a lot of empty spaces, a lot of just traveling around with not much happening. Things like Skyrim, in terms of like that, if you played it before. That's probably what Starfield's going to be like, let's be honest. I don't buy it for 1 second, the bullcrap they're peddling about that. But again, not really. This is like making me think about Starfield in comparison, which is not a good thing. But so this is much more contained, much more focused than that kind of a game, which is good. It definitely reminds me of like some of the earlier X's, like X2, in terms of that, because X2 was a little more cagey. It wasn't quite so open world like Albion and the later games, Survival. So gameplay mechanic wise, flying around feels okay. It actually feels better than a lot of other dogfighting kind of twin stick shooter sims, like Really Dangerous, because granted we only were like in really one ship battle, to be honest, and I kind of did feel it there where it was like you kind of were like trying to get turned back around to face the enemy, which is like, this is the main problem I have with dogfighting simulators, right? It's that the whole point of the game is to get behind your enemy, right? That's the whole gameplay loop. So you're just flying around in bloody circles trying to catch up, or trying to find a way to get some sort of edge to get behind them. And while you're doing that, your enemy's flying around you too, so you're stuck in a perpetual loop. Unless you just say, okay, cut it, go straight, then flip back around and come back at your enemy, and then you're just shooting at each other at that point. It's not real. There's no real, tactical maneuvering really possible at that point. Once you're in combat. Outside of combat, you can like try and sneak around and like kind of sneak up on stuff. But once you're in combat, you really just have one option. That is missiles that can target lock and then go wherever, or you do jousting, space jousting, basically. So there was a little bit of that here, but it also didn't feel quite that way. So I'm wondering if they found a way to like prevent that or limit that. But flying feels pretty good. Feels better than most other types of games like this I've played anyway. I like the whole like flipping and dipping thing with the left stick. Once I figured out what was actually doing that, it's kind of an interesting little mechanic there. They can use to kind of dodge out of the way of obstacles as you come up to them. firing on the triggers makes sense, and making the adaptive mechanism to pull all the way in to fire, that's a nice touch too, so it gives you like the extra. You can sort of cock the trigger and then just be ready to pair trigger it whenever you need to fire. Which is, again, a nice feature of the PlayStation 5 controller. That lets you do that. Let's see, other mechanics. It's kind of like that gate thing that she went through to go fast. That was kind of an interesting thing. There seems to be quite a bit of a framework in this game for things you can do and things that are available to you in like combat things. So my first impressions is this is a fairly well designed gameplay system. You know, the mechanics in this game are fairly well thought about. They're fairly well designed, and for this kind of game, they're pretty good. So I'm gonna say it's 7 out of 10 for gameplay mechanics. So art design, everything looks the way it should. The textures and things don't look very janky at all. They look, they look reasonably high quality. There's no like really pixelated stuff anywhere. The ship models look really good. The visual effects are good. There's a use of lights to kind of direct you around to where to go, which is a nice touch. Not necessarily something you'd see in this kind of game, but there was some of that in like the tutorial area, where they had like light filtering in on certain objects and also kind of telling you need to come over to here, sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. Level design is really good, actually, especially for this kind of game. The fact that it's limited open world means that it can do that, right? Because you don't have an unlimited area to do, so you can put more detail into an area that way. So they take advantage of that pretty well. There's a lot of like this thing we're seeing, the station thing we're seeing right now on the screen's pretty detailed. The way things are designed makes sense, at least as far as I understand, like the time period and the story and whatnot. So UI-wise, the UI is okay. It's a little bit minimalistic. I would like to see maybe like a compass or maybe like something to track your speed or what have you. This feels like there's a couple things missing from it. Otherwise, it's pretty good UI. It's not very cluttered. Things are very well, oriented in terms of like the space of where things are at. Where things are at makes sense. Top right is usually either top right, top left is used for health. Bottom left or bottom right is used for like ammo and stuff. So, and other kinds of systems like that. So that makes sense where those are oriented at. So for art design, we'll give this game 7 out of 10 too. Audio. So for the audio design, the sound effects are a little bit interesting. There's some really funky sounding ones. The music's pretty good. Like we're hearing right now in this menu here. It's pretty good. Really interesting. There's a lot of like dubstep, industrial, orchestrated kind of music, which is pretty typical for this kind of game. Space games tend to use a lot of that. To great effect. So it seems like the music's pretty well done as well. The sound effects though are going to cause me to drop this a little bit, so we're going to drop it half a point down to 6.5. Normally I would say probably 7 for this as well for audio. 6.5 for audio design, just because the sound effects some of the sound effects are they sound a little bit out of place, and don't quite make a lot of sense. And some of the voice acting is, especially at the beginning, and the the prologue introduction part of the dialogue at the very beginning, sounds very. It might be part of just her character that she's very monotone and like sort of emotionless, but. I feel like there could have been a little bit more done there, because the pacing of the dialogue itself, like the way that was written, felt very strange and stuffy. Once we got into the actual game, it felt, you know, better than that. But the intro dialogue was very weird in terms of how it was written. The voice acting is okay. You know, it's not amazing or the best, but it's passable. So for audio design, we'll give this a 6 out of 10. And that leaves story. And we don't really have much of that yet. We kind of know that we used to be part of something. The character used to be part of something called the Circle, that employs psychics or some sort of ESP, sort of enhanced humans, of which for one we had this mentor that then had some sort of personality shift and started telling his disciples to go out and destroy, I'm guessing, planets of unbelievers or something like that. And this caused our character, the main character, to then leave that organization, and we ended up here somehow. And they don't really know what she is yet. So it's kind of interesting. The ship we know is sentient. At least it's we're led to believe it's sentient, like an AI sort of thing, because it talks to us through not the game so far. And we are at this place, and we learn that the person that runs it thinks that there might be an attack imminent, and that's why they need these power cells to power things. That's about where we're at with that. There's nothing really yet that's like really hooked me into the story. It is interesting, and just like this kind of game is the kind of game I like anyway, so I would continue playing it without that story hook, but it could be better with that story hook. A lot better. It could be more impactful. Granted, we only played like an hour of this, so it may happen a little bit further in. Some games take a while to get to that point. But I'm not going to spend, 3-4 hours getting to that if that's how far in it is. So I feel like I can't really properly rate this, but I'm going to give it a 6 at the moment. With the stipulation that it could go as high as an 8 or a 9, based on kind of the themes and sort of the information we know so far, and where I think this could go. It could go up to a 9. So it's a pretty large shift up. I think 6 would be maybe the lowest it would go. And that's if like things kind of stay the way they are. There's no real huge plot hook that's developed. We don't really have any exploration of how this great sage person, whatever his name was, why he sort of had that change of personality. It seems like there's some kind of like warpish thing in this world too. They were talking about how there's something that they immerse themselves in that gives them power or something like that. So room to grow for that. So overall, I think I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10, but as I mentioned before, we're going to drop a half point to 6.5 because of the accessibility options menu that is not actually filled with accessibility options. It's filled with the standard options that should be other places, and it feels like they just put those there to say they had accessibility options to score brownie points or something. So I'm taking off half point for that. This game has potential, a lot of potential. I don't normally like twin stick shooters like this. I prefer like that kind of point the mouse controlled or third person kind of camera, but not so twin stick shootery kind of thing. Sort of games like more like the X series. At least the later ones, or like EVE Online. But so far, this game has my attention. Definitely something we'll be coming back to check out later on. Yeah, so that's going to be it for this first impressions video. Feel free to leave any comments, questions below. I'd appreciate it if you liked the video, if you enjoyed it, and if you want to be notified about my other content and other videos like these coming out, be sure to hit the subscribe button and click on the bell for notifications. And I will catch you guys on the next video where we'll be going over a game called Shoota's Blood and Teeth. I believe that's the order of the words. It's a Warhammer 40k orc platforming game, which all that put together sounds very insane. You got Warhammer, you got orcs, which Warhammer and orcs put together is usually a fun time. But then you have platformer. It's not usually a genre you'd associate it with a 40k game. So that game, it's going to be interesting. That's going to be the last game in our first group of games in Season 1 here that we have planned. I'm currently building up a list of more games to do, but I don't have that currently finished out yet. We're going to go up to 20. That game will be like 8 or 9. So I'll have to do another 12 or another 11 or 10. Another 12 or 11. So I'll have to go fishing for games to buy to try, or go digging through my Steam library, because I got a crap ton of stuff in there that I haven't played before. So that's all. My Steam library is perfect territory for this series and giving content for that. But yeah, thanks for watching again, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Till then, it's LMP Games, and I will see you later.